So Rand, pleasure to have you here at NextCon.
Great
Thank you
to be
so much
here.
for making it out.
Yeah,
What do
my
you think
pleasure.
about NextCon so far?
I mean, it's incredible. You have brought together a phenomenal audience and some truly impressive speakers too.
Including yourself.
Not including me. I would not group myself into that, but
You know-
we'll see how we do.
And you're a marketing legend, and I know you know this. First, how does it feel to be so well known in the marketing community and have accomplished so much and impacted so many businesses and people with Whiteboard Friday, Moz, and now SparkToro and your books?
Yeah, it is. There's definitely some cognitive dissonance at play, right? Because I don't think of myself as having a very big presence, but then in marketing universe, it's sort of like I'm a celebrity to a small number of very specific nerds on the internet, and that it's fun, right? I think it's exciting to be able to have an impact on a marketplace and on a field, and to be able to have access to a lot of people and ideas, and then synthesize those and help other people learn. Recently, it's also been really interesting for me to be able to sort of think more deeply about that and reflect on how I want to help the next generation of marketers, right? So, when you and I were coming up, it was this kind of golden era for web marketing, and
It was just getting off the ground.
yeah, it was just getting off the ground. Google was sending so much traffic. They were an ally to virtually everyone on the web. There's social media platforms as well, right? They drove tremendous amounts of traffic. Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and Reddit and all of these places were spots where you and I could build brands.
Yeah.
And they're becoming a little bit less that.
Tougher.
Yeah, all of those places are becoming tougher. And so I think a big part of my work these days is not just kind of trying to help marketers understand how these platforms work, but also urging these platforms to be more helpful to marketers, right? Trying to apply some of the, whatever clout and pressure I can apply to a Google, a YouTube.
I think that's important, right? Because we want a level and fair playing field, and we don't want it to necessarily be only the big companies or certain people or certain companies to get, special treatment.
Yeah.
Even-
I worry about that. I don't love the idea that that internet marketing is becoming a pay-to-play environment.
Right.
I don't think that's healthy and good for any of us, right? I think that there's something magical about the ability to organically build a brand based on what you do and how well you do it and the information and help that you provide to others. That inspires me to want to help a lot of people do that, and I worry about us pulling up the ladder behind us, right?
But do you feel like it's becoming more pay-to-play than ever before?
Yeah.
Like 15 years ago, it wasn't as pay-to-play, I'd say, right?
Well, I mean, one of the statistics you can look at is what % of the advertising market does online control?
Right.
What % is controlled by just Google and Facebook?
Right.
And those numbers keep climbing.
Right.
In pretty concerning ways. So I worry about that. I also worry about the % of clicks that go to paid versus organic, right?
Diminishing.
Paid just keeps on growing, and
Right.
organic is shrinking the
Right.
opposite way. And then there's Google themselves capturing so much search traffic
Right.
and sending it back to their own properties.
Right.
The biggest beneficiary from Google search traffic is
Google or YouTube, right?
Alphabet, right?
Okay.
The Alphabet brand of companies. Maybe that's because they're really good. I
Yeah.
don't think that's true.
Right.
I think it's because
And I'm
that-
sure universal search, Google wants to keep them on Google, right? So
this is the big problem, right?
traffic is staying.
That search, and I don't know if you watched the congressional hearings, right, where Sundar Pichai was testifying, and then Adam, whatever their representative, Google's representative, was testifying in front of Congress, right? And you've got this panel, tons of people there, and one of the congressmen asks point blank, a few years ago, Larry Page said that Google's mission was to get you to Google and then send you off to where you could get the information as fast as possible. Is that still Google's mission?
Wow.
And you can see, right,
Wow.
this Adam guy just kind of crumbling and providing a total non-answer and trying to dodge the question. And essentially, the honest answer is no.
Yeah.
That is not our mission anymore. We want to keep people on Google because that's how we monetize them.
Yeah, and then we even saw the recent Genius dilemma or situation. So there's a lot
Yeah.
coming out with Google, and Definitely, the world's changed. Looking back, let's say 15 years or so in the game, would you have done anything differently? Was there a move or anything that you did? Knowing what you know now, would you have done anything differently?
So many things. Lost and Founder is basically a guide for Rand of things you should have done differently, right? And I think that the reason it's resonated with other entrepreneurs is because this book is just filled with,
You really
we did this, it did not go the way we wanted it to go. Here's what I would do differently this
And
time.
what are some of those things that you really, have stuck with you still, that you're like, you know what, more businesses need to think about this and know,
Yeah, I mean,
and not necessarily follow the kind of norms or the ideas that have been kind of pushed onto us.
yeah, I mean, one of the ideas that's been popularized in startup world and tech startup world in particular is this concept that venture capital is the end all be all, right? That if you build a great company or a company that could be great, you will be interesting to VC, and therefore that makes you some sort of superstar, and that's what we should all be aiming for. And that is, I think if you noodle on that logic for just a few minutes, you will quickly see, oh, no, wait, I think that's just venture capitalists and the tech press like working to amplify that, right? They say, oh, VC is wrong for 99% of companies, but the implication is if you're a really great company, then VC is right for you. And that is not true. I believe two things are false there. One, I think that VC kills far more companies than it needs to, right? So by raising investment in this manner, 90% of those, 95% of those companies won't return the investment amount. That is, I think, because of the pressure of being forced to grow fast, right? Or die fast.
It's almost like businesses, sorry to cut you off, but most businesses think, or entrepreneurs think, they need to, in order to start, you first need VC money. Like you don't,
that's another myth.
Before you get a domain name, you need VC money, right?
Madness, right? That's madness. I think that is part of the problem. I think there's also a big focus on growth and growth rate over profitability and survivability. And so a lot of entrepreneurs are trying to build companies that show rapid growth so that they can attract investment rather than trying to show profitability and survivability so that they can weather whatever storms come. And the thing about growth is if you don't die, it'll come.
Exactly. And this is a marathon, right? Like
this is
business
a marathon.
is a marathon. It's not the short game. And Nextiva story, we started off, self-funded since day one, bootstrapped, but also in Arizona, which was different, right?
Yes.
So there's also this belief that you need to be in Silicon Valley or a major city in order to start, grow, scale a business. But even that's a myth, I would say.
I completely agree. And I think that there's actually a lot of smart money looking at alternative investments in secondary, tertiary markets all over the world. And that is a really smart thing. I also think one of the big mistakes that I made early on was trying to be everything to everyone, right? So I am of the strong opinion that focus wins in a lot of marketing and sales and product arenas, right? That a ton of the time when you look at a product or a business that is plateaued and it is not growing anymore, it's because they moved away from what made them a great product in the first place. They stopped serving the customers they were supposed to serve as well as they could. And now they're back in either searching for a new customer to serve or they're going to be slowly dying. And you can see a ton of companies like that.
Whether it's like chasing the money or, moving away from your original guiding principles or foundation or vision.
Yeah.
You need to know your customer at its core, right?
Yeah.
So how about you're seeing a lot in the world of marketing today. We all are. But what are some of the problems that you're seeing that marketers are doing? What are marketers doing wrong?
I think that there's a binary problem around measurement and lack of measurement. So there are channels that marketers continue to invest in and put new money into. Channels like brand influencer marketing is a really heavy one right now. A lot of brand advertising, a lot of events and sponsorships. And those dollars are poorly tracked and poorly connected to overall mission and vision and goals. And then I think we have another problem on the other side of the equation where paid ad spend, organic search, content marketing, and a number of other practices, email marketing, lots of organic channels are overly obsessed with proving their ROI value based on last click.
Right. That's
This
a problem.
is madness, right? This is madness to like underweight any type of measurement in this whole sector of marketing and way overweight it over here. And so you lose your ability to be creative and thoughtful in these very tactical channels, and you lose your ability to prove ROI and to invest long term and make these sort of, I don't know what exactly to call them, almost subject to the winds of change and how the CMO is feeling that day,
Right.
in terms of whether they continue to get investment
Or what
not.
your VC tells you, or the board.
Sure,
kinda
exactly,
guides you,
right? So I think we need more structure, more measurability over in channels like brand and influencer marketing, and we need willingness to be creative and to let marketing practices run even without proving ROI in places like content, SEO, podcasting, video, email, a lot of those places.
What is that one channel that you're most excited about right now? That's maybe untapped or just, in its early phase or stage that has immense potential?
Let's see. So I'll answer that two ways. I think the most underrated practice in marketing is positioning. I think that is somewhere, I don't know how, but over the last 15, 20 years, marketers, myself included, somehow...
We didn't think about it.
We didn't think about it.
No.
We somehow forgot it existed, forgot it was important, didn't realize that positioning, how we describe our products to our customers, how we position them in the market against other products, how we talk about the problem that people have and our solution to it, that is hugely missing.
Right.
And tons of product marketers, especially in tech, completely ignored it, which is dumb.
Yeah.
So that one on the strategic side. In the tactical channel, I think that the most exciting, still underinvested in channel is building a strong email list. So you build a channel in search, Google can take that away from you in an instant. You build a channel on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Reddit. You build a channel through advertising. Your competitors can quickly take those away from you.
Right.
The platforms can quickly take those away from you. If you have someone's email address and they love getting your email and they open that email every time,
That's powerful.
you are so hard to beat.
Right.
You are so hard to compete against. And that can build on itself
Right.
in a flywheel type of manner the way few other practices can.
And that's where, building a community, having a direction and not necessarily chasing your competition,
Yeah.
but really thinking about your brand, your positioning,
and your
message.
marketing, think about your marketing as a product, right? As a
Right.
product that I want people to want my marketing.
Exactly.
How do I make a product that is marketing, but that people want and they are willing to jump through hoops, like marking Gmail as this is not spam, don't put this in my promotions tab, send this to my
Exactly.
main tab, like I want to get this email.
Well, Rand, you're truly inspirational. We're so thankful to have you here at NextCon. I know our community and everyone at NextCon is super excited to have you here. Thank you for joining us at NextCon Studios, and looking forward to what's ahead for you and SparkToro, and wish you all the best.
No, it is my honor to be here. Thanks for having me, man.
Thanks.
Cheers.